What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to Splitgate 2, I'm telling you guys, this game literally is not slowing down whatsoever. Every single time new information drops, it's an absolute bomb. And today we have even more information about the future of this game and basically the roadmap that's going to be panning out for us regarding content, updates, so on and so forth. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I always say, buckle on, and we have a lot of stuff to go ahead and discuss today. But of course, before we go and hop in, if you guys are interested in more content just like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. We post daily here at 8 morning Eastern Time, everything between Call of Duty, Battlefield, Arc Raiders, and Splitgate 2. And of course, I'm going to be covering this game up until the beta, which is going to be launching this week. And afterwards, we're going to be covering everything along with this game as well. So, like I said, if you're interested, subscribe and hit that bell. And if you guys are interested in my live streams, I stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch, starting between 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Of course, if you guys are interested, I got a link to that channel down in the description of this video. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of days ago, Splitgate came out over on Twitter and stated, a sneak peek into the future. Next week is only the beginning. And they went ahead and dropped the roadmap. And as I stated in the intro, it is freaking huge. Now, I am going to be showcasing it bit by bit, piece by piece, not the whole overall thing, just because I want to kind of sit and discuss each and every segment since there's literally so much. And before we hop into the roadmap, I do want to mention they did state things are subject to change if, of course, something important or maybe something bad might happen. I don't know. But if something massive drops or, whatever, things might change around, but so far, it's looking pretty dang good. And I do want to state as well, when this beta drops, don't worry about anything, ladies and gentlemen. It is going to last until the game officially launches. So you can play from now, well, not now, until the beta drops, all the way until the official launch, which is going to be huge. But let's dive into the first segment here. This is for May 22nd, when obviously the beta launches. Open beta, 9 new maps, 3 new modes, the lab map creator, beta battle pass, and new power weapon. And then, of course, weekly playlists of community favorites. I really like that at the very bottom there as well, the weekly playlists. I think that's such a unique feature because it's going to keep things fresh and active when it comes to revisiting this game. Of course, they can obviously expand on this later on, maybe when the game officially launches, to different style of things that they can introduce, which, again, you'll see as we go on in the roadmap. But for what it is right here, right now, that's going to be great because it'll always be something to hop back into. We're going to have a battle pass to grind out still. Having a new power weapon is going to be fantastic so the game feels fresh along with all the new maps and modes. And having the lab, for those who don't know, the lab is practically Forge from Halo, so basically it's a map creator. But having the lab at the beginning of the beta as well is going to add an endless amount of content to hopefully allow people to, enjoy themselves for months down the road. This is going to be absolutely great. But let's move on to the second portion here. This is going to be summer 2025. So basically, in a month or two, we're going to be able to see all of this extra content being introduced. But it states monthly map releases, reskins, changes, and more. Massive new modes, in-game events with earnable rewards, weekly playlist updates, new power weapon, map creator competitions, and one more massive surprise. And I gotta be honest with you guys, I am very curious what this massive surprise is going to be, because whenever Splitgate hints at something massive coming into the game, apparently it is indeed going to be massive, just like, when we learned about the lab coming on into the beta. So I'm very intrigued of what this is going to be. But overall, this is great. I mean, they're pretty much following the same pattern as XDefiant when it comes to content drops, a map a month, which I personally think is great. I know it was always debatable, that it's not enough, but you gotta think, months and months and months, years down the road, that is when this concept comes to life. Because then you already have tons of content. And when you get a new map every month, it's not going to feel as, drawn out. And the best part about this is that, it's not like XDefiant where it's the same content that we had within the beta, so we didn't get anything extra and the game feels kind of stale and then we have to wait a month, Not like that. Splitgate 2, like I said, is dropping with 9+ maps. And at the same exact time, we're going to have the lab to create more maps. Which means that, a fresh map a month from the actual dev team themselves is going to be perfect. We're going to be happy and content with what we have, and as these maps slowly trickle on in, we'll get more and more variety. I really freaking like this, although I don't know what it means by reskins, changes, and more. I'm curious what you guys have to say about that down in the comment section. But then massive new modes, awesome. In-game events is going to be phenomenal because on top of the weekly, shakeup of modes and playlists, so on and so forth, which will keep the game fresh. We'll also have events that will keep the game fresh on top of the battle passes that it's going to keep the game, you see what I'm saying here? It's looking like Splitgate 2 is starting off in the perfect direction right now. And then, of course, a new power weapon going to be introduced again. They're making it seem like it's going to be a lot of interesting power weapons being, kind of pushed on into the game, but it does worry me because I don't want it to become too overwhelming with the amount of power weapons that we have. I'm going to be curious how they balance it out and how things will look in the future. But overall, from my perspective, content is content. And that's what people like nowadays, at least from my observation, from playing so many different titles. It always seems that people just want more and more and more. It's not like back in the day where, you can hop into a game and the gameplay flow itself was enough to hold people over. I heavily think the modern casual audience has shifted. I'm not speaking for all of you guys, because I know a lot of you guys are like me as well, where you could just play a game and have fun with it. But for a lot of casuals, I think that content is king. And seeing them really hyper prioritize that content is huge. And then, of course, the map creator competitions. I don't even need to describe how freaking awesome that actually is. It's amazing enough that we're having the lab introduced. But then they're going to go ahead and hold competitions, which will hopefully encourage more players to give the lab a try. And honestly, I think that will open up eyes to the masses out there. And to be honest, I don't really see 343 doing too many contests when it comes to Halo Forge. Again, I see so many awesome creations, but this right here is great because it will encourage people to really hop in, create with the lab feature, and maybe stick around for future contests or just simply because they enjoy it to begin with a nice little twist of having portals. Who knows? Overall, it's a very smart move by the development team, and I'm glad they're taking these jumps and basically forming this bond with their community. And then, of course, the very last section called And Beyond, and basically this is to be announced content, stating it's going to be more weapons, more maps, more modes, more events, and more skins, and more surprises. And of course, I have a blurred out photo here, which I'm very curious about because I don't think they would just blur out a skin. I'm wondering if this is going to be a new ability being introduced into the game, because for those who don't know, there are abilities set to each faction. There's 3 so far. I'm curious if they're going to introduce another faction into this game. They already stated this in the past in, previous Q&A, that it's not really on their radar, and they're going to stay open to it, though, if the community wants something fresh. But again, as I stated before, a lot of this stuff is subject to change. You never know. And this is the And Beyond section. This is going to be past summer, probably even, pushing more towards the official launch of the game. We have no clue what's in store and what they have planned for us. There might be one more faction coming on through for the full launch of the game. But once again, I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to say about this blurred image and what you all think it's going to turn out to be. But ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much all I have for you guys. This content is looking absolutely outstanding, and I cannot wait to dig my teeth into this beta. I've been waiting so long for Splitgate 2. I'm sitting here looking at my Steam library, wondering what to play right now. And I can't do anything. Honestly, what I've been playing the most is the finals. That's been my go-to, but I've been playing it mostly because I've just been waiting so long for Splitgate 2 to finally release. Call of Duty it's Call of Duty at this point. Battlefield, I'm waiting for the new Battlefield if I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. 2042 kind of sucks. Battlefield 5 is still a World War II. I want a modern day, up-to-date Battlefield game that's actually good. I'm waiting on that new one. I'm really, I'm keeping my fingers crossed it turns out to be good. Arc Raiders doesn't drop until later 2025. Obviously I have X Defiant, but it's just kind of depressing to play that game at this point, knowing that it's going to go away. But I do still play it on stream, but it's rough. I just really want to play Splitgate 2, and knowing that it's just a handful of days away is so freaking exciting, and I cannot wait to dive on in. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. It means the absolute world to me. You guys know I've been trying to do a little bit more variety on this channel. It's hard. As everybody knows already, a lot of YouTubers typically stick to one game and one game only, but I'm trying to branch out and just have some fun with all the games I enjoy. So again, all the support, whether you guys like it or don't like it, means the absolute world to me, and it helps me point in the correct direction as well. And also, guys, don't forget subscribe and hit that bell, because we are going to be keeping up to date with Splitgate 2 like it's nobody else's business, alongside, future Call of Duty games, or how, Activision is mismanaging the franchise, the new Battlefield, Arc Raiders. You best believe you're going to be able to hear all content around these games on this channel. And last but not least, if you guys are interested in my live streams, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch. And obviously, the Splitgate 2 beta is going to be dropping this week, so we're going to be hitting the grind like crazy. Honestly, I know I typically take off Sundays, but I might actually stream this upcoming Sunday just because of the Splitgate 2 beta. I don't know, man. I think it's worth it. I don't know. But regardless, if you guys want to hop on in, you can find a link to my Twitch channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.